station you count on. This is KARK4 News with your forecast first.
Rain and thunder roaring over central Arkansas, hitting Pulaski County rather hard. Good evening and thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Bob Clausen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Dean. We are your weather authority, so let's check in with KARK4's Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan for the latest on these storms. Keith, they still coming our way?
Well, there are some still across Arkansas. The vast majority of the more significant shower and thunderstorm activity is well south of the Little Rock area, but we're still going to keep that chance of a few showers in the forecast. Let's take a closer look now across northern Arkansas. You can see just some areas of light rain running along I-40 from Conway back to Little Rock. Showers and thunderstorms exiting Garland County, now moving into Hot Spring County. Also, another batch of moderate rain moving across portions of east central Arkansas. Stronger thunderstorms crossing the Mississippi River a couple of hours ago. Still are strong, but they have been weakening as they're moving into some air that has been cooled by previous rainfall during the course of this afternoon. Areas of light to occasionally moderate rain continuing over Drew County down to Chico County, where you folks had flash flood warnings a little bit earlier. Those have either expired or have been canceled, but be alert to the possibility of high water. And moderate to occasionally heavy rain across south central Arkansas from Crossett over to El Dorado up to near the Camden area in Ouachita County. Another batch of strong thunderstorms headed down Interstate 30, just about ready to approach the Arkadelphia area. It looks like we're going to see those rain chances shifting southwestward as we head through the rest of the evening hours, and then all of that activity will be diminishing after sunset. 78 degrees by midnight, and we're going to start your Friday with partly cloudy skies around 74. Coming up in a few minutes, we'll let you know what our rain chances are for the rest of the weekend in just a few minutes.
Keith, thanks very much. Are Arkansas taxpayers simply getting what they pay for when it comes to elected officials? Former Arkansas Treasurer Martha Schaffner said her financial situation drove her to accept bribes handed over in a pie box of all things.
And as KARK4's David Goen shows us tonight, the ongoing saga involving Schaffner shines a light on what is really a larger issue for Arkansas public servants.
What do you want to say to the people of Arkansas?
That I love them.
But it's unlikely many Arkansans have much love for Martha Schaffner now. The state treasurer forced to resign amid federal bribery and extortion charges.
She knew what she was getting into.
Schaffner's already admitted to investigators accepting $36,000 in cash, many times delivered in a pie box. Prosecutors say all of it in exchange for steering state business to a bond broker. Yet, Schaffner wants a trial.
Well, I think that's where you get the truth.
So has the public not heard or seen the truth yet?
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
According to court documents, the Newport native says she needed the cash to pay a rent at a Little Rock apartment, despite a $54,000 annual salary, telling friends she was broke.
Ms. Schaffner, ran for the office knowing that the salary was what it was.
But UALR political science professor Art English says that doesn't mean she or other constitutional officers are paid well.
Does Arkansas pay their constitutional officers too little?
Yeah, I really think so. Yeah, I do.
And the numbers bear it out. Arkansas's treasurer's salary dead last in the nation. Missouri, just over $107,000. Oklahoma to our west, $114,000. Tennessee, the highest in the nation, an eye-popping $182,000. And even Mississippi pays its treasurer $90,000.
Our salaries in Arkansas for constitutional officers have always been abysmally low.
You have to walk all the way back in history to Arkansas's 1874 Constitution to see why. Drafted 9 years after the end of the Civil War and against a backdrop of inherent distrust of elected officials, salaries for offices like Attorney General and Land Commissioner started low and stayed there. Even a voter-led constitutional amendment 20 years ago only bumped treasurer pay to $37,000.
We've always had this long tradition of unfortunately not paying our constitutional officers presumably, what they ought to get.
Low pay aside, English says that's a long way from a reason to accept money under the table to pay rent.
If there is something to the idea that I needed more money to have housing and things like that, well, it's time to resign and find another job. You know what I mean?
Why did you decide to plead not guilty?
Yes.
Martha,
well, there were just certain issues that were brought up that I couldn't plead to on the first.
We might not know until next spring what those reasons are, but until then, don't expect a big public push to give elected officials any more than they already get. And actually, Arkansas State Treasurer pay is undercut only by our neighbor to the southwest.
Texas sets aside no money for a treasurer. Voters in the Lone Star State abolished that position altogether in 1996. Bob and Jessica.
You know, I'd say in some cases, you know, we're getting a lot more than we pay for when it comes to our elected officials. But, we just went through this thing with the mayor of Little Rock on trying to make his salary comparable to other cities in the region, and they struggled over how to figure out just what comparable was. What can be done to bring the salaries up and make everyone happy?
Well, you know, I don't really think there's a big push, even amongst some elected officials, to see it go up anymore.
Bad politics, though, wouldn't it be, to push to get a raise?
It sounds a little self-serving if you want to push a constitutional amendment that happens to bump your salary. But people I talk to, you know, putting this story together, you tell somebody that Martha Schaffner makes $54,000. That's twice as much as state median income.
That's
so
right. That's absolutely,
it's really hard to feel sorry for somebody in that situation.
All right, Dave, thanks very much. And the issue of elected official pay, certainly one of many things that David and Roby Brock will be discussing on Capitol View this week. All you have to do is tune in. David and Roby will tackle another issue, just how expensive it is to even run for office in Arkansas. Catch Capitol View Sunday morning, 8:30, right here on KARK.
A federal jury says it needs a third day of deliberations to decide a drug case involving a former Little Rock police officer. The jury in the Randall Robinson case spending a second full day deliberating a 4-count indictment. Prosecutors say Robinson knowingly escorted what he believed were drug shipments through Little Rock while he was on duty and in uniform with the LRPD. Robinson resigned from the force shortly after the charges became public in May of 2012. Those jurors will return tomorrow at 9 a.m. to try and reach a verdict.
A petition to remove the Saline County Sheriff from office has collected more than 150 signatures so far. The online petition started on change.org. Sheriff Bruce Pennington was arrested in June and charged with public intoxication along with refusal to submit to arrest. Sheriff Pennington has said that he will not resign from his position. For more information on Pennington's arrest, you can go to ArkansasMatters.com. There you'll find a full police report and an interview with the sheriff.
Turning now to a KARK4 News update. A $500,000 bond has been set for a man accused of trying to assault an 8-year-old in Pope County. According to the sheriff's office, Michael Buchanan attacked that little girl near a school in Adkins. She was able to get away, and law enforcement then used some video surveillance to determine Buchanan was the suspected attacker. He was already a registered sex offender for a previous felony conviction. He remains in custody.
Police are looking for a missing man not seen since his friend drowned in floodwaters nearly 2 months ago. Jonathan Elin stayed in the homeless camp, the same homeless camp with Casey Hudson. The body of Hudson was pulled from Coleman Creek on the UALR campus May 31st after heavy rains over the Memorial Day weekend. Police say Elin is not a suspect in any crime, anything like that, and he's listed only as a missing person. Bend police offering the public a chance to see what an officer's job on the street is like in real time through a virtual ride-along on social media. KARK4's Marcy Manley joining us now with this one. And Marcy, the plan is for 6 hours of constant updates as an officer makes his way through the day shift. Is that right?
That's exactly right, Bob. We all know that these guys put on their badges and hit the streets to keep our community safe, and we're thankful for that. But what they deal with on a daily basis is probably something that not most of us are aware of. But thanks to social media on our cell phones and computers, we can get a glimpse.
Most all of us live here. We don't want crime here either. We want to keep the crime down to a minimum.
Corporal Daniel Creasy has been patrolling Benton streets for 20 years.
Lincoln 5397 area.
Taking calls for burglaries, domestic disturbances, and even the occasional parking lot accident.
With Tennessee stickers on the back.
No day's the same, and you don't ever know what's going to happen or what's going to come up, but you just always kind of got to be ready for it.
Friday night, average Joes will get a chance to see what it's like in a police passenger seat with every call and every stop updated in real time on social media.
Because they can see a little bit of what an officer does on a daily basis and the kind of calls that they encounter. And
Lieutenant Kevin Russell runs the PD's Facebook and Twitter feeds. Friday night between 6 and midnight, he'll be putting out posts as he rides along on patrol.
It just helps us develop a good rapport with the community and further engage them in an arena that we never have.
It's the type of interaction Creasy,
there you go, sir,
would describe as unheard of when he joined the force, an effort to make the public aware of its police force and what it faces.
We didn't do that 20 years ago. There was no such thing as any of that 20 years ago.
And as he cruises through the city to fight crime, he thinks that ability to bring the public in wins police respect from those they try to protect.
Although people may not completely understand everything that we do, I think they appreciate the way we try.
Now, again, the virtual ride-along will take place tomorrow night from 6 p.m. to midnight, and it will take place on the Benton Police Department Facebook and Twitter pages. It will also include video streams and photos of the patrol as well. Back to you.
All right, Marcy, before you go, we have to wish you an official goodbye. Marcy's going to be leaving us to take a new job, but before you go, we have to tell everybody Marcy is whip smart, and she's always in there with a million different story ideas, and there's going to be a big old hole here, and we're so proud of what you've done and what you're going to go do.
And I know a lot of the folks at home, obviously they see what Marcy does in front of the camera all the time, but if you saw her work behind the camera at her desk, going over stories that she's going to cover and how to do them correctly to make sure the right information gets out there, and ethically too.
Yeah.
You know, and she's the first person to bring up the conversation and also call people out on it. And I've been there too. But so Marcy, it's been a joy, a pleasure to work with you.
It's been wonderful to work here with the team at Channel 4 and KLRT, and I just want to thank the people of Central Arkansas. They've let me into their lives, and they've allowed me to tell their stories, and I'm astounded every day that they allow us to do that so that we can keep other people safe, but also inspire our communities, and that's something that I count myself lucky to have been able to do.
Well, you were always their biggest advocate. You really were, and we wish you all the best. Good luck.
Best of luck, Marcy. Thanks so much. And to take a closer look at some of those links that Marcy talked about in her story, you can go to ArkansasMatters.com.
Still to come tonight at 6 o'clock, reeling in a big one.
How catching the right fish at Little Rock Derby landed one kid a new set of wheels.
And a lot of lucky folks across central and eastern Arkansas today picking up some much needed and welcome rainfall. It looks like we're going to see some rain chances in the forecast for the next couple of days, so don't feel abandoned if you didn't get any today. In Little Rock, before the rain moved in, 98 degrees. The low this morning, 75, I should say. 0.09 of an inch of rain here in Little Rock, but some places picking up a quick 1 to 2 inches. A complete look at your forecast is just minutes away.
This is KARK4 News at 6 in high definition with Bob Clausen, Jessica Dean, Chief Meteorologist Keith Monahan, and Aaron Peters with your Razorback Nation report.